Hi, this is Kim Keenan with the Illinois Center for Social Work Development. Being a part of the Proficient program and being certified in Proficient doesn't mean you need to become a part of the Clinical Supervision Suite, but we certainly would love for you to consider joining us. So let's go over a few things about what the Clinical Supervision Suite is and how to get involved. One of the best ways to understand what the Clinical Supervision Suite is and how to become involved as a part of the Clinical Supervision Suite is to join us on our website. That link will be shared below as well as at the end of this video. So let's get started. What you see right here is the front page of the Illinois Center for Social Work Development webpage. We talk about the Proficient Certification Classroom. And here is the link that I'd ask you to click on for the Clinical Supervision Suite. So let's do so. What you'll see pop up is how to join and make a real impact. I'd ask you to scroll down, and then there's a button that says Join Now. So let's do that. Once this opens up, there's a couple of things that I would ask for you to review. One is becoming a part of the Clinical Supervision Suite does have some requirements. So let's go over these. You must possess a state of Illinois license, an ICSW, in good standing, must have at least 2 years post-LCSW clinical work experience, must have access to quality internet services, and a private workspace that's conducive to confidential supervision sessions. You'd also have to be willing to accept referrals for supervision at a rate of $30 an hour per supervisee, and that's regardless of whether supervision is done in person, online, one-on-one, or in a group setting. Are you willing to provide proof of liability insurance and your active LCSW license? A recent resume would also be helpful in consideration. You would be working in collaboration with the Illinois Center for Social Work Development and participating in monthly coaching cohort sessions, and provide a roster of all your supervisees, as this will be a part of the Proficient Supervision Service. All providers accepted into the suite will need to provide the Illinois Center for Social Work Development with a headshot for marketing, as well as a brief bio. And I'll show you in a minute what that might look like on the website. Then there's a short questionnaire. This questionnaire just helps us get an idea of whether or not you might feel like you're a good fit for the suite. Question 1 is, are you certified in the Proficient Core Competency Training Program? That is a must to be a part of the suite. 2, do you have at least 2 years post-LCSW clinical work? And if so, could you explain those to us? Have you conducted any clinical supervisory services in the past? And if so, how long have you provided supervision? Have you ever had issues with your license? And are you willing to conduct supervision as a 1099 contractor? Once you're approved to be a part of the Clinical Supervision Suite, you will see on the webpage as you scroll down the opportunity for anyone to review the certified clinical supervisors that are a part of the suite. So it is at that point that we would ask for you to provide a good headshot and a brief bio. Here is just one example of one of our clinical supervisors. How does the Clinical Supervision Suite work for those that are looking to obtain supervision? Scroll down a moment and you'll see Schedule for Supervision. This will highlight the Proficient Clinical Supervision services that are offered through the suite. Those individuals, they could be individuals that are MSW graduates who are looking to get their clinical hours. It could be an individual or an organization that is required to provide clinical supervision but doesn't currently have an LCSW on staff. The best way for them is to apply for supervision. So they would click on this button, Application for Supervision. It's a very simple form. It just asks some basic information and what they might be looking for. We do have scholarships available for reduced or no cost supervision. For those individuals looking to perhaps apply for this gives you just a brief description of how to apply. How do the referrals work for clinical supervision? Once we have obtained an application for supervision, a clinical supervisor would be contacted for potential availability. Payment for this service can be done in one and two ways. One, for those in private practice, you might be more comfortable with scheduling payment options directly between you and your supervisees. Or you can become a 1099 contracted supervisor through the Illinois Center of Social Work Development, and we'd compensate you for your services. Either of these options would be discussed in advance and agreed upon. Either option for payment would be a part of your participation in the suite. For more information about the Clinical Supervision Suite or how to become involved, visit us at our website, Illinois Center for Social Work Development, or feel free to email me directly. We hope to hear from you soon.